I love teaching on Skillshare. I'm happy with the results and with the growth and with my earnings. Surprise, surprise! Teachers are going to be earning less from now on. Not good. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Louise, I am an artist and an art teacher. I have been teaching on Skillshare now for a little over a year. I published my first class in 1st of September last year, and since then I've made 2 videos here where I've talked about my experience with teaching on Skillshare, my earnings and my results and my tips for Skillshare teachers. But now it's been like 6 months since my last video about that, and I've had a few questions. How is it going for me on Skillshare? What do I feel about Skillshare now? Do I still think it's worth it? How much am I earning? So let's talk about that. It's kind of timely because there was recently a very large change to Skillshare, to the way Skillshare pays teachers. So we will be diving into my exact stats throughout my entire journey with Skillshare. Everything I've earned from my first month all the way up until my previous month, or this month. So about a year, my first year on Skillshare. I will talk about my thoughts on these recent changes and what I think they mean, what they mean for me, how I feel about Skillshare now, and how I plan on going forward. So let's just dive into it. Here we have my teacher stats right here. As you can see here, I have 5 classes published and 2 of them have been going pretty well on the platform. This one right here, Portrait Drawing for Beginners, was a staff pick by Skillshare. So that one has been promoted a little bit more than my other classes. A lot of my results are likely due to these two classes right here. I have earned a total of $8,694 since I started my Skillshare account, and I have 4,798 students and 128,675 watched minutes of my classes. And here you can see what my approximate October earnings are. And spoiler alert, this is a lot less than what it should be or what it has been previously. Let's start by looking at what I have actually earned month to month since I started. My very first month, I earned $25.40. And $10 of those were from a referral. So here you can see the money I've made from referrals, the money I've made from watch minutes, that's at least how it's been calculated up until now, and then my total amount earned over here. As you can see, it's been steadily going up, give or take a few bucks each month. I think right around here was when I published my portrait drawing class, which went very well. That's why there was kind of a jump in my pay there. And then I have been making steadily around $1,000 a month. Oh, and I should also say around here, May and June is where they implemented a new referral system. So a new way of paying teachers for referrals. Previously that was $10 per new member on the platform. But then right around here, they changed that to a certain percentage of the membership fee of that student, if they actually went ahead and paid for the membership. So yeah, June, July, August, around $1,200, $1,300, $1,000 per month. And that was with around 15 to 16,000 watch minutes per month. Then there was a dip in September and, the school year starts and people get back to work after vacation. But then if we look at October, I actually have more watch minutes than I had for June and July and August. But my earnings don't reflect that. And that is because Skillshare recently made yet another change to their payment structure. They announced this back in September, and it wasn't really clear how this would affect teachers. But basically what it means is that instead of just dividing a certain percentage of their earnings across all teachers on the platform, they are now going to have a set fund, like a Skillshare teacher fund each month that will be divided among teachers. And that will not only be determined by your minutes watched of your courses, but also engagement. God, I hate the word engagement. I'm sick to my stomach with it. But yeah, which means that it's going to be a lot harder to predict what your income is going to be as a Skillshare teacher, because How do they measure engagement? And how do we even impact the engagement with our students? Oh, and they also changed the referral system yet again, which looks nice because they are going to be paying us teachers more if we refer new students to the platform. And it's been speculated that this is likely just to ease the blow of these other changes. I agree with that, especially now in hindsight, because surprise, surprise, teachers are going to be earning less from now on. Most teachers that I have heard from report like 60 to 70% less income from one month to the next, which is extreme. I don't yet know exactly how much smaller my earnings are going to be from this, but they are definitely smaller, as you can see. And that brings me to how I feel about Skillshare right now, which is not good, to be honest. I'm not going to bash on Skillshare in this video. I'm not going to be all doomsday prophet, freaking out, panic over it, because frankly, I was expecting this. I have been expecting this for a year because I know how platforms like this work. So I'm not surprised. I am feeling a bit discouraged, though. I'm not gonna lie about that. All of these changes recently to the referral payment system and now to the earnings system itself, it just feels very erratic and very unstable and very unsafe. Skillshare has been my primary source of income this year, ever since I started my business, because I wasn't making money from YouTube at the beginning. I am planning on making a separate video where I actually walk you through my entire earnings in my business, which I know a lot of people are curious about. So I'm not going to go into my YouTube earnings right now, but I did make the decision this summer that I was going to focus more on YouTube to get my income there more in line with my Skillshare earnings, because I did feel unsafe even back then. And I'm very glad I made that decision, because otherwise this would have been an even bigger blow to my income. But it is still a blow for sure. And if I didn't have a partner who has a stable, good income that we rely on, we don't have very high expenses here. We live on the countryside. That's why I can do what I do. If I didn't have that, if I was the breadwinner of my family and we had kids or anything like that, I wouldn't be able to do this for a living. That's just me putting my cards on the table. So my income is still kind of like a bonus income for us, which is why I'm not freaking out as much as a lot of other Skillshare teachers are doing right now, understandably. But it still sucks, you know? Still sucks just from one month to the next to lower everyone's income this much. But what bothers me even more is the dishonesty around it, because the communication around this beforehand, it was very like last minute. It was like, oh, next month we're gonna change up everything in our payment model. So it was sprung on us quite unexpectedly. But then the way they formulated themselves was just these changes more closely align teacher earnings with the class content and on-site engagement our members love. Meaning, we're going to punish you if your students are not engaging enough with your classes. The Skillshare Teacher Fund will be a set amount of money announced at the start of each month and will be based on a number of varying factors, including business performance, such as sales revenue, and seasonality. What this means to me is that your income is going to fluctuate wildly and you have no control. That's essentially what it means. I have bad feelings about it. I am no longer comfortable in relying too much on Skillshare for my income, and I'm no longer feeling excited about being a teacher on the platform. I'm certainly not feeling excited about producing any new classes. And it does not matter how much they incentivize me, which is the second thing that I find a bit disturbing, because they have a lot of these like teacher challenges going on and a lot of like little bonuses here and there, which I mean, of course I'm happy about that. I'm always happy to be paid more money, but it's very random and I've never felt like I've done anything in particular to earn those bonuses. They've just been kind of sprung upon me, and it doesn't feel honest or transparent or stable at all. I received an email just a few days ago with some announcements. I get these emails regularly. Our fall publishing challenge runs until November 13. Publish a new class by the end of the challenge to be eligible for one of our cash prizes. All teachers receive a 1-year Skillshare membership, which I have earned in the past and I have not been using because I don't enjoy using Skillshare as a student, and I'll get to that in a little while as well. But yeah, all of these like publishing challenges, promotions, and little bonuses, all they do is stress me out because it feels like I'm in a sales job, you know? I haven't worked a sales job for a lot of years now, and I've been very excited about that fact. And now it feels like I am slowly becoming a salesperson / ambassador for Skillshare, and that was never my intention. And all of these little qualify to earn more and you are eligible to participate, publishing challenges and bonuses, pay me fairly for my classes instead, please. And I'm sure a lot of teachers would agree with that. So yeah, I guess I really just don't trust Skillshare anymore, and I don't think I ever will, because when a company does this, making these types of huge changes this quickly and not being entirely honest about what it would mean, they no longer have my trust. And then there's also the lack of control that we have as teachers on the platform and the lack of creative freedom. None of this has affected me too much, but I've heard many stories of people who have gotten their classes either denied or even taken down because of sometimes very arbitrary reasons, like background color somewhere, or the way they have named their lectures, or like lecture length and class length, and all of these rules and conventions that are decided by Skillshare. And also just how the platform works in general and how students are charged. I really don't agree with forcing people to pay for yearly memberships. I think they are priced at like $140 a year right now. Back when I first discovered Skillshare, that wasn't the case. I could pay a monthly fee and I could get out whenever I wanted, so no strings attached. But now I don't agree with that way of making business. It's kind of the way that gyms have always worked, right? Pressuring people to pay a big sum of money for a year upfront, knowing full well that they probably are going to drop off. They are probably not going to get their money's worth for that membership. As I mentioned before, I don't recommend it to students. I no longer use it myself. For more about that, watch my recent video titled "You Don't Need Another Art Course," where I talk about that. Information overload, overconsumption of courses and classes, tutorial binge watching syndrome. I enjoyed Skillshare a little bit in the beginning when I was a beginner, a beginner artist, but I was quickly just overwhelmed with the amount of content there and the general quality of content. I kind of just felt like I was wasting my time and that what I really should be doing was just to practice. But I go into greater depth about that in the video that I mentioned, and I'm going to link it below for you. Of course, Skillshare is going to work for some people. I just don't want to force people into this environment of overwhelm and overconsumption. And so I'm no longer feeling comfortable with only having my classes on Skillshare. And then finally, I just don't feel inspired to teach on Skillshare anymore. I don't feel inspired to create more classes. And I felt that way before these changes. I was just not feeling inspired. I felt like I was just adding my content to this huge sea of similar courses and classes. I just couldn't help but compare myself to other teachers and the other content on the platform. I've been feeling very inspired to teach a wide variety of classes, but then I've gone on to Skillshare and I have searched for similar classes about those topics that I want to teach. And either there has been too few search hits for that topic or those keywords, or there has been just too many very good quality classes, and that's just intimidated me instead. And so I've just had my inspiration ruined by Skillshare a lot recently, and I've been feeling a lot more excited about doing my own thing, setting my own rules, and creating courses about whatever the hell I want to make courses about and how I want to make courses, and making them available as affordable standalone purchases. That's the way I prefer to consume course content, and that's the way that I want my business to work. And I don't enjoy being pressured by Skillshare to produce more classes just to maintain my current income. I'm not gonna hustle for yet another algorithm on yet another platform. I would prefer to make a lot fewer but better courses and offer them to the people who want to learn specifically from me. So yeah, those are my 4 reasons. One important disclaimer that I want to put in here is that I don't hate Skillshare. I don't think they're evil. I don't think they're out to get us. I understand that they have to keep evolving their business model. Things can rarely remain exactly the same when a company grows very quickly, which I know Skillshare is right now. So of course they're going to make changes. It's inevitable. It's the same way with YouTube and with social media and Etsy and Udemy and all of these other platforms at our disposal as creative business owners and content creators. It's just inevitable. Things are going to keep changing, and complaining about it, protesting about it is not going to help. I don't think they made this decision flippantly. I think they are honestly trying to evolve their business model and keeping their stakeholders happy and their teachers and students happy. So no, I'm not hating on Skillshare, okay? I don't regret the work I've put in. I have really enjoyed teaching on Skillshare up until recently. As I mentioned before, they have been the primary source of income for me. Without them, I wouldn't have made any money at all. And I'm very grateful for that. I'm very happy that I have put in the work that I have. It has been the right decision for me, and now it no longer is, Doesn't mean that it can't be the right decision for someone else or for new teachers. I would still recommend, if you're a completely new teacher, start on Skillshare just to learn the ropes and get some initial feedback on your teaching style and your video quality and your sound quality and all of that. And then when you feel ready to stand on your own 2 feet, you can move away from it, just like I will be doing, because you will probably have an audience at that point. You will have an email list, and you could start selling your courses directly to your audience, which they would probably appreciate as well, because they wouldn't have to pay $140 a year to become overwhelmed and have their time wasted. Sorry, Skillshare. I guess the key takeaway from this video is spread your risk. Don't trust any one platform too much, because these things happen all the time. They are going to keep happening. New course platforms are going to be popping up, promising a better payment structure or better referrals or whatever. This is the way that it's always going to be. There are going to be changes. We cannot rely on any one platform too much. We need to spread our risk, and we need to divide our income up into many buckets, as many as possible, so that we're less vulnerable to these types of changes. We need to take personal responsibility for our business. We need to make wise decisions, and we need to build our own platform first and foremost. That is the unifying message of all of my videos about this. That is my message to you, especially if you are a Skillshare teacher and you are panicking about these changes. If you don't already have an email list, start funneling your Skillshare students into your email list so that you can have direct contact with them, so that you can own that relationship better, and then start offering your courses via your own website or via a service like Teachable, for example, or Thinkific or Kajabi, or there are many different platforms where you can sell standalone courses and maintain a much higher percentage of your income. I personally use Teachable for that. I have been using it on and off for many years. So that's what I'm using now to start offering my courses as standalones. All of the new courses that I make, I'm going to offer as standalones first and foremost. I might put some of them on Skillshare just because it doesn't cost me anything and it might bring a little bit of extra income, but I'm certainly not going to produce more content for Skillshare directly. I'm going to focus my energy on my email list and my YouTube channel and my standalone courses. And I'm very excited about that. I'm optimistic. I always enjoy moving towards more control and more independence. I hope that you can take those steps as well and start to feel more empowered and not too discouraged by these changes. And I wish you the best of luck with your teaching. Let me know in the comments how these changes have affected you and what your plans are going forward. I would love for us to encourage and empower each other and not to despair too much. As always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see each other in some other video.